The sky was dark, heavy with clouds, as if the world itself was holding its breath. High above the scorched and broken lands of Earth, a silver ship glided silently through the atmosphere. Its surface shimmered in the dim light of the sun, reflecting the ruins below. Inside the ship, the crew stared out at the planet they once knew. For them, Earth was a memory, a dream, a place that had been theirs to marvel at. But now it looked almost unrecognizable. Leora, the youngest member of the crew, pressed her hand against the cold glass. Her eyes were wide, filled with wonder and fear. It looks different," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Everything is gone." Her captain, Kale, stood beside her, tall and composed, but even he could not hide the flicker of unease in his eyes. "Time changes everything," he said softly, "but there's still hope. We left this planet in the care of humans. They were strong. Surely they survived." Leora shook her head, her hair catching the dim light. "Strong? We thought they were fragile. They needed our help and we left them." Her voice broke slightly. "What if they don't forgive us?" Kale put a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Forgiveness is not what we are seeking. We came to see the truth. We came to understand." As the ship descended, the aliens could see the scars of decades etched across the land. Cities lay in ruins, with twisted metal and shattered glass scattered across streets. Forests, once lush and alive, were now blackened skeletons. Rivers, that had glimmered with life, were reduced to dry, cracked beds. It was a world of silence. And yet in the quiet shadows movement stirred. Small figures moved carefully among the ruins, watching the sky. Humans, alive and alert, had not only survived, they had adapted. Their faces were marked with hardship, their bodies lean and strong. Their eyes glowed with determination, a fire that had never been extinguished. The ship landed softly in the middle of a ruined city. Dust rose around it like a curtain, and the aliens stepped onto the ground, feeling the weight of the years that had passed. The air smelled different, heavy with smoke and the faint scent of Earth struggling to heal. Every step they took was careful, almost hesitant, as if they were entering a world that belonged to someone else now. Kale spoke first, his voice steady but tinged with emotion. "We came back to see you, to see if you are still here." From the shadows, a human stepped forward. Mara was young, but her posture carried the weight of years of survival. She did not run, did not hide. She faced the aliens with calm defiance, her gaze unwavering. "We are," she said simply. "We are still here. And we remember what you left behind." Leora swallowed hard, the guilt rising in her chest. We thought we were helping," she said, almost to herself. Mara's eyes hardened. "Helping? You left us when the world fell apart. You thought we could not survive without you. You were wrong." The aliens looked at each other, a mixture of shame and fear crossing their faces. They had come to see a world reborn, a world that had healed itself. But instead, they found humans, who had grown stronger because of the very absence of the aliens' help. This was a truth they had never anticipated. Kale knelt slightly, lowering himself to show respect, a gesture that humans might understand. "We did not realize. We underestimated you. We left thinking the planet could not endure without us." Mara's lips pressed together, holding back words that burned in her heart. "You were wrong," she said finally. "We endured. We built ourselves from the ashes. We learned, we fought, we survived. And now you are here. But you will not dictate our future. Leora felt a pang in her chest. She had always believed humans were fragile, that they needed guidance, protection. But now, standing before Mara and the others, she realized the truth. Humanity was not fragile. Humanity was unstoppable. It burned bright even when everything tried to snuff it out. Kale rose, his hands raised in a gesture of peace. We came back to learn, not to lead. We came to understand the strength you found, the courage you discovered, the power you hold within yourselves. Mara looked at him, a flicker of respect softening her expression. Then you have much to learn, she said. Much more than you ever imagined. As the aliens and humans stood there face to face, a new chapter began. Not of dominance or fear, but of reckoning. Earth had changed, and those who returned would learn that survival was not always about strength in technology or weapons. Sometimes survival was about heart, and humanity had more heart than anyone, alien or not, could ever understand. The humans did not rush forward. They did not yell or attack immediately. Instead, they watched, waiting, studying the aliens who had returned to the land they once called home. Years of struggle had made them cautious. They had learned that appearances could be deceiving. The aliens looked the same as before, but the humans knew that arrogance often hid behind calm faces. Mara stepped forward, her boots crunching on broken glass and ash. Around her, a small group of survivors emerged from the shadows, men and women hardened by fire, children who had grown up knowing only struggle. Their eyes glimmered with determination. They were not weak. They were not afraid. We remember you, Mara said, her voice clear and steady. We remember the ones who left us, who abandoned us, who thought we could not survive without you. The alien's silence was heavy. Leora's stomach tightened. She had expected anger, maybe confusion, but not this quiet intensity. The human strength was not in their weapons or numbers. It was in their presence, in the way they stood tall, despite the world they had inherited. Kale stepped forward slowly, his hands raised to show he meant no harm. We did not abandon you, he said carefully. We thought we were helping. We thought leaving would protect you. Mara's eyes narrowed. Protect us? She repeated, almost laughing bitterly. You left when the storms came, when cities burned, when disease spread, when the earth itself seemed to die. You left. You thought we were fragile. You thought we would fail. The words hit the aliens harder than any weapon could. They had left thinking humanity could not endure, thinking their absence would ensure survival. But here, standing before them, were humans who had not only survived, they had thrived. A child, no older than 10, stepped beside Mara. She held a handmade weapon, carved from scraps of metal. Her hair was matted with dirt, but her eyes burned with fire. We are still here, she said simply. We fight. We live. We do not need your pity. Leora felt her chest tighten. She had expected gratitude or fear, not this raw defiance. Humans were not the species she remembered from her studies. They were stronger, fiercer, wiser. And yet, there was pain in their strength, a memory of loss that no alien technology could heal. Kyle lowered his gaze. We were wrong, he admitted quietly. We did not see your strength. We did not understand your courage. We thought we knew the limits of life, but we underestimated you. Mara's expression softened slightly, though her voice remained firm. Understanding comes after watching, not before. You see us now, after we have survived decades alone. You see what you left behind. But do not think for a moment that this makes you superior. You only see the surface. You do not see the nights we cried alone, the winters we starved, the battles we fought just to breathe another day. The aliens felt a heaviness in their hearts. They had been scholars, explorers, observers of life. They had come to Earth thinking it would be a lesson in nurturing. Instead, it had become a lesson in humility. Humanity had endured what no alien mind could calculate or predict. Leora's eyes filled with tears. "We thought we were guiding you," she whispered. "But you have guided yourselves. You built strength where we expected weakness. You survived where we expected ruin." Mara nodded slowly. "And now you return," she said, her voice steady. "You return to see what we have made of the world you abandoned. But remember this, your presence does not control us. Your technology does not define us. We define ourselves, every day, with every choice, every struggle, every act of courage." The aliens looked around. Among the ruins, small signs of human ingenuity glimmered. Solar panels fashioned from scraps, water systems made from old pipes, gardens growing among rubble. Each invention, each repaired home, each surviving human told the same story: resilience. Strength born not from power or alien intervention, but from heart. Kale raised his hand, bowing slightly in respect. "We came to see what you became, and now we understand. We see your spirit, your courage, your endurance. You are extraordinary." Mara's gaze held his. "Extraordinary, yes, but never again should you assume we are weak. Never again should you doubt the heart of humanity." And in that moment a quiet tension hung in the air. Not hostility, not friendship, but a fragile acknowledgement. The humans had awakened, not just to the return of the aliens, but to their own power. They had survived, and that survival had forged a force that could not be ignored, a force that demanded respect. The aliens felt it too, the humbling truth that they were no longer the guides, the protectors, or the rulers. Humanity had become its own master, and as the sun peeked through the clouds, casting light on the ruined city, both sides realized that the story of Earth was far from over. The next chapter would be written together or not at all. The air was tense, sharp with unspoken words as humans and aliens faced each other among the ruins. Silence stretched between them, broken only by the wind rustling through the remains of buildings. Every step the aliens took seemed cautious, almost hesitant, as if they feared the fire they had awakened in humanity. Mara's eyes narrowed. She had seen the aliens' regret, felt their sorrow, but it did not erase the pain of the past. "You left us," she said, her voice low but firm. "You abandoned this world when it needed you most. You think words can fix that?" Kel raised his hands, palms open, a gesture of peace. "We did not know. We thought leaving would protect you. We thought we were giving you freedom to grow." Mara shook her head, frustration and anger mixing in her eyes. "Freedom? Is that what you call it? We were left to fend for ourselves while the world burned. You thought we were weak. You thought we could not survive without your guidance." "You were wrong," the humans behind her murmured in agreement, their faces stern, their eyes burning with the years of hardship they had endured. Weapons were held loosely, not yet raised, but ready if needed. They were strong, and they wanted the aliens to understand that strength was not something given. It was earned, shaped by suffering and perseverance. Leora stepped forward, her voice trembling. We thought we were helping. We never meant to hurt you." Mara looked directly at her, her gaze unflinching. "Help, you mean to abandon? You think leaving was mercy? You left us to die, and yet you speak of mercy. You speak as if your absence was anything but arrogance." The aliens exchanged glances. This confrontation was not one they had anticipated. They had come expecting gratitude, perhaps hesitation, but not this raw, unyielding defiance. They were scholars, explorers, observers, not fighters. And yet, here stood humans who did not bow, who did not plead, who demanded accountability with their very presence. Kale stepped closer, his voice calm but edged with sadness. "We underestimated you. We saw weakness where there was strength. We did not see your courage, your endurance, your will to survive. Mara's lips pressed together. And now you see it. But seeing is not the same as earning trust. You cannot walk back into our lives and assume forgiveness. You left scars that will not heal with words alone. The tension thickened. A human warrior stepped forward, a scar running down his face, and spoke, his voice echoing through the ruined streets. We do not forget. We do not forgive easily. And we do not yield to those who once thought themselves above us. The aliens felt the weight of these words. They had always believed in logic, in reason, in knowledge. But humanity operated on something else, something the aliens could not calculate. They fought with heart, with pain, with pride. They had endured the impossible, and their strength radiated from every line of their bodies, every determined step they took. Leora's hands trembled at her sides. We were wrong, she whispered to Kale. We thought we were protectors. We thought we were guiding them, but they are beyond what we imagined. Kyle nodded slowly, his gaze on Mara. We see that now, and we understand that we cannot command, cannot guide, cannot dictate. We only hope to learn, to see the world you have rebuilt. Mara studied him, searching for deception. When she saw none, she allowed a flicker of respect to show in her eyes. Then learn, she said. Learn what it means to survive without gods, without guides, without saviors. Learn what it means to face every day when hope itself seems lost, and still find the strength to keep going. The humans relaxed slightly, though their stance remained firm. The aliens lowered their hands fully now, realizing that strength could not be measured in technology or authority. It was in the ability to endure, to rise again after every fall, to claim life in the face of despair. Kale bowed slightly, a gesture the humans could recognize as respect. We came to witness your strength. We did not come to challenge it nor to diminish it. We came to understand. Mara's eyes softened just a fraction, but the fire remained. Then you have much to witness. You have much to learn. And remember this, our strength was born in your absence. You did not shape it. You only underestimated it. The wind carried their words across the broken city, as if the planet itself listened. The first confrontation had ended, but the clash of ideals remained. Humans would not bow, aliens would not dominate, and in that tense, fragile understanding, both sides realized the truth. The next steps would determine not only the future of Earth, but the lessons that even the most advanced beings could learn from a species that refused to break. For the first time, the aliens truly understood. Humanity was not fragile. Humanity was fire. And fire could not be tamed, it could only be respected. Days passed in uneasy silence. The humans did not attack, but neither did they trust. They watched the aliens carefully, observing every movement, every gesture. Their world had been shaped by fire and loss, and they would not allow it to be taken lightly again. Kyle and his crew stayed among the ruins, not as rulers, not as guides, but as visitors. They walked the streets carefully, taking in the evidence of human resilience. Houses rebuilt from rubble, gardens thriving among broken concrete, children learning under the shade of twisted trees. These small signs of life told stories of struggle, determination, and ingenuity. Leora paused beside a river, now flowing clear and strong after years of care from human hands. She touched the water lightly, amazed at how life had returned even in places the aliens had thought lost forever. They have done this themselves? She asked softly. Kyle nodded, his eyes scanning the horizon. Yes, they did not wait for us. They did not ask for our help. They endured, and they rebuilt. This is their strength. Mara approached, her presence commanding yet calm. This world is ours, she said quietly. We survived when everything tried to take us down. We built what you thought could not be rebuilt, and we continued day after day. Sorry, one of the alien crew knelt on the cracked ground. You are stronger than we imagined. We came to teach, but it seems we have much to learn. Mara studied her, eyes softening slightly. Strength is not about technology or weapons, she said. It is about heart, courage, and the will to never give up. We learned that when you were gone, and we had no choice but to fight for ourselves. Kale stepped closer. We left thinking you were fragile, that you could not survive. But seeing your world, seeing your spirit, we understand now. We underestimated you. We should have never doubted humanity. The humans listened quietly, their expressions wary but attentive. The aliens had admitted their mistake. But words alone could not erase decades of struggle. The past was heavy and scars ran deep. Yet for the first time, the humans saw a hint of humility in the beings they had once viewed as gods. Mara led them to a rebuilt city center. The streets were clean, people were working together, and life pulsed even in the ruins. "Look around," she said. "This is what we made from nothing. Every brick, every plant, every child learning to read, they are proof that we do not need saviors. We only need each other." The aliens were silent, overwhelmed by the scope of human perseverance. Leora looked at the faces of children playing among ruins, laughing despite everything they had endured. "They are happy," she whispered. "They survived and they are happy, and we thought we were needed to save them." Sari touched Leora's shoulder gently. "No, we were wrong. Humanity did not need saving. They needed respect, and perhaps understanding. That is what we lacked." Kale took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "We came thinking we were guides, but we see now that we are students. Students of courage, of endurance, of willpower. Humans have taught us more than we ever taught them." Mara's gaze softened, but her voice remained firm. "You may learn, but remember this: trust is not freely given. Respect must be earned. You were gone when we needed you. You doubted us when we were strongest in silence. Never forget that." The aliens nodded, humbled. They had witnessed humanity in its rawest form, scarred, struggling, yet unstoppable. They began to understand that strength was not in advanced technology or superior knowledge. It was in rising after every fall, in creating life where destruction had reigned, and in never surrendering to despair. Leora looked at Kale, tears forming in her eyes. I thought we were powerful. I thought we were superior. But they are extraordinary. We should have never doubted them." Kale placed a hand on her shoulder. "It is not too late to learn. It is not too late to change how we see them. The past is gone, but the future we can witness together if we choose humility." Mara watched them for a long moment, then nodded slightly. "Then learn," she said. "Learn that Earth is ours. Learn that humanity is not fragile. Learn that courage, heart, and perseverance are stronger than any technology you can offer." And in that quiet moment, among the ruins that had been turned into life again, the aliens began to understand what it truly meant to respect a species. Humanity had survived. Yes, but it had survived with pride, with heart, and with lessons that no alien could ever teach. The days slowly turned into weeks, and the tension between humans and aliens began to shift. It did not vanish entirely, but a fragile understanding was forming. A recognition that survival and strength were not the sole property of one species. Humans had endured alone, yet they now allowed the aliens to witness the life they had rebuilt. Kyle walked beside Mara through one of the smaller villages humans had restored. Children ran past them, laughing despite the ruins around them. Makeshift gardens grew in every available space, small signs of life thriving where devastation had once ruled. The aliens watched quietly, amazed at the ingenuity. Each plant, each water system, each repaired home told a story of perseverance that no alien technology could replicate. Sari, quietly observing the children playing, whispered to Leora, "They do not need our help. They never did. They only needed to be allowed to survive." And they did more than survive. They thrived. Leora nodded, feeling a pang of shame. "We thought we were the protectors. We thought we were their strength. But they built strength from nothing. They built it from fire, from ashes, from courage we could not have imagined." Mara led Kyle and his crew to the outskirts of the village, where a large garden had been cultivated in the ruins of an old city square. Humans were working side by side with the few aliens willing to assist. Kale saw humans showing the aliens how to repair broken irrigation systems, how to plant seeds in the cracked soil, how to restore life to the land. It was not guidance. It was collaboration. A partnership forged from respect and necessity. Kale spoke quietly to Mara. We came to Earth thinking we had wisdom to share. But you are teachers in your own right. Mara's expression softened, though her voice remained firm. We can teach, but first you must understand that your place here is not above us. Your role is not to lead or command. If you wish to help, you must earn our trust. Show us that your presence is a choice, not an imposition. Leora stepped forward, holding a bundle of seeds she had been given. Then let me start. Teach me what you have learned. Let me earn your trust. A human elder approached, a weathered woman named Tira. Her hands were strong, her eyes bright with the knowledge of survival. She studied Leora carefully, then nodded. If you are willing to learn, then you may help. But remember, Earth is ours, and it is built from the blood, sweat, and tears of those who refuse to die. Leora knelt to plant seeds in the cracked soil, her hands trembling. Every motion was a lesson, every instruction a small step toward understanding. Around her, humans and aliens worked together, their cooperation tentative but growing stronger with each passing day. Kyle watched, feeling something unfamiliar. A sense of humility, yes, but also hope. Perhaps this was how the future could be shaped. Not by domination, not by fear, but by mutual respect and shared effort. Mara walked beside him, her eyes scanning the horizon. We are not asking for your forgiveness, she said softly. We are asking for honesty, for respect, and for understanding. If you can give that, perhaps we can build something together. If not, then leave and do not return. Kyle nodded solemnly. We understand, and we choose to stay, to learn, to witness what you have achieved, not as rulers but as allies. As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a golden glow over the ruined city-turned-thriving village, a quiet warmth settled over both humans and aliens. They were not yet friends. Trust was fragile and easily broken, but for the first time they were working together side by side, learning from each other. In the days that followed, bonds strengthened. Humans taught aliens how to survive with limited resources, how to read the land, how to turn ruins into life. Aliens shared knowledge of technology that could aid without dominating, always careful not to impose, always careful to respect the humans' independence. Together they rebuilt small communities, cleared debris, and restored water systems. Leora looked around, tears forming in her eyes. I never imagined I would see this, she whispered. They are unstoppable, and now we are part of it, not because we are needed, but because we are allowed. Mara glanced at her, a flicker of approval in her eyes. Then learn well. Observe closely. You will see that strength is not in power alone. It is in endurance, in heart, and in courage. The courage to survive even when everything is against you. And in that moment, amid dust and rubble and the laughter of children, a new chapter began. Humans and aliens were no longer enemies, no longer separated by pride or arrogance. They were students and teachers, allies and witnesses. Together they would face the challenges of a world reborn, learning lessons that neither species could have understood alone. For the first time, Earth felt alive not just with human resilience, but with the possibility of unity, respect, and hope for a future built on fire-forged bonds. The sky darkened unexpectedly, a shadow stretching across the horizon. Humans and aliens alike looked up, sensing danger before they understood it. A massive cosmic storm was approaching, far larger and more violent than anything Earth had faced in centuries. Its winds howled across the barren lands, carrying particles of charged energy that threatened to destroy everything in their path. Mara's eyes narrowed, and she turned to Kale. This is not something we can face alone. We have no choice but to stand together. Kale nodded solemnly. Then we stand together. Not because we must, but because we choose to. The humans and aliens worked side by side preparing for the storm. Humans guided the placement of barriers, reinforcing homes and critical water systems. Aliens contributed technology that could stabilize the atmosphere, shield key areas, and monitor the storm's movements. Every human hand, every alien instrument, combined into a single force of determination. Children, who had learned the value of resilience from the elders, helped where they could, passing supplies, fetching tools, and cheering the workers. Their laughter, though faint, brought hope even in the looming darkness. Mara shouted over the wind, "Do not falter! Every life here is a choice. Every effort is proof that we refuse to bow." Leora worked alongside a group of humans, her hands raw from labor but her heart light with purpose. I never thought I could feel like this," she said to a young human named Taro. "To be part of something that truly matters." Taro smiled, sweat streaking his dirt-covered face. "You are learning what it means to stand with us. We survive together or we do not survive at all." As the storm neared, lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the rebuilt cities, the thriving gardens, and the proud humans who had once been abandoned. The aliens, once observers, now felt the weight of responsibility, not as saviors but as allies. Every decision they made, every tool they offered, was a choice to respect the human strength rather than override it. Kale turned to Mara. "We came back thinking we could witness your resilience, but now we see it in action in real time. We are humbled by your courage." Mara's voice rose, strong and unwavering. "This is what it means to be human. We do not give up. We do not cower. We fight even when the odds are impossible. You may have underestimated us before, but now you fight alongside us because you choose to respect that strength." The storm hit with a deafening roar, tearing through the plains and forests, uprooting trees and flattening old ruins. Yet the combined effort of humans and aliens held firm. Barriers reinforced by human ingenuity and alien technology absorbed the storm's fury. Water systems remained intact, crops survived, and homes withstood the relentless winds. Every human and alien felt the power of unity, a force stronger than fear, stronger than despair. Every hand gripping a tool, every mind working together, every heart beating in courage. It was a symphony of survival. Leora looked around, tears in her eyes. "I thought we were the powerful ones," she whispered. "But it is their heart, their will, their courage that truly matters. They are extraordinary." Kyle placed a hand on her shoulder, his gaze fixed on the storm-lashed city. "We see it, and we are honored to witness it, to stand with them, to learn from them." Hours passed, and the storm finally began to subside. Clouds parted, revealing the battered but unbroken landscape. Humans cheered softly, relief washing over their faces. Aliens looked around, astonished at what had been endured and achieved. The city was scarred, but it stood. The people were bruised, but they were unbroken. And in the midst of destruction, life had survived. Mara turned to Kale, her eyes glistening. "You see now, don't you? Strength is not in weapons, not in technology. Strength is in heart, in courage, in refusing to surrender when all seems lost." Kyle nodded, humbled. "Yes, humanity is fire. It cannot be tamed. It cannot be defeated. It must be respected." As the sun rose over the renewed earth, its light shimmering on repaired streets and thriving gardens, humans and aliens stood together, not as conqueror and conquered, not as teacher and student, but as equals. They had faced the storm together, and in that unity, they discovered the true power of partnership, forged not from dominance but from respect, courage, and mutual trust. And in that quiet, golden moment, a new chapter began. A chapter where humans led with heart and aliens learned humility, where survival was not about who was stronger, but about standing together in the face of impossible odds. Earth had survived, and humanity had reminded the universe that its spirit could never be underestimated. The storm had passed. Silence returned to the world, but it was no longer the heavy, despairing silence of ruins. Instead, it was alive with possibility. Birds sang cautiously from the trees. Children laughed as they explored puddles left by the rain. and the sun glimmered on streets that had been rebuilt by human hands. The earth was breathing again, and so too were its people. Kyle stood on a small hill overlooking the city, his silver armor dulled by dust and rain. Beside him, Leora's eyes glistened with tears. I never imagined a world could survive like this, she whispered. After everything, they did it all. Mara approached, her face calm but fierce with pride. We survived, she said simply. We endured. We rebuilt. And we continue every day. No one can take that from us, not even the universe itself. Kyle bowed slightly. You have taught us more than we could ever teach. We came to return to Earth thinking we might guide you, but we see now that humanity does not need guidance. Humanity defines itself. It rises, it endures, it thrives. The humans gathered around, their faces still marked by hardship but their eyes shining with determination. They had fought storms, famine, disease, and abandonment. They had survived the greatest challenges without help, without mercy from the world, and now they stood unbowed. The aliens could only watch in awe as the sheer resilience of humanity became undeniable. Mara looked directly at Kale. You once thought us fragile. You once thought we needed your protection. You were wrong. We are stronger than you can imagine. Our strength comes not from weapons, not from technology, but from heart, courage, and the will to survive when everything tries to destroy us. Kale nodded, humbled. We understand, and we will carry this lesson with us across the stars. Humanity, your spirit is extraordinary. The universe should never underestimate it. Leora knelt beside a small garden, brushing dirt from her hands. I thought we were the powerful ones, she murmured. But they are unstoppable. Every struggle they endured made them stronger. Every tear, every scar, every loss, it forged them into something beyond comprehension. Tira, the elder human, placed a hand on Mara's shoulder. We survived because we believed in ourselves. We thrived because we refused to give up. And now, you see that power, not as conquerors, not as saviors, but as witnesses to what it means to be human. Around them, the rebuilt cities gleamed in the sunlight. Rivers flowed freely, and children played among gardens that had risen from ashes. Every building, every tree, every smiling face was a testament to human endurance. The aliens realized that Earth had not been abandoned, it had been reclaimed. Not by advanced technology, not by extraterrestrial guidance, but by the sheer unstoppable force of humanity itself. Kale turned to Leora, a rare smile on his face. We came back to witness. We came back to understand. And now we see the truth. Humanity is fire. It cannot be tamed, it cannot be defeated, it cannot be abandoned. It must be respected. Mara stepped forward, her gaze sweeping the horizon. Let this be remembered not just by you, but by all who come to see us. This world is ours. Our courage, our heart, our willpower, that is the legacy of Earth. And anyone who underestimates it will learn what it truly means to face humanity. The aliens looked at the humans, feeling a deep reverence. They had traveled across the stars, exploring worlds, studying civilizations, thinking themselves wise. Yet here, on a planet they once abandoned, they found a species that had become greater than anything they could have predicted. Leora felt tears roll down her cheeks. We came thinking we would teach them, but they taught us everything. Kale placed a hand over his chest as if to feel the truth of it. Yes, and their lesson is simple yet profound. Strength is not in power or technology. Strength is in the heart. Strength is in endurance. Strength is in courage that refuses to break. Strength is humanity. The sun rose higher, casting a golden glow over the city and its people. Humans and aliens stood together, not as equals in hierarchy, but as witnesses to a new era, one where respect replaced arrogance, where courage replaced fear, and where the legacy of a species proved that the universe could never ignore the power of heart and spirit. Mara raised her voice, soft yet carrying across the streets. This is our Earth, this is our legacy, and anyone who comes to challenge it will face the truth of humanity. We survive, we endure, we thrive, and we will never be underestimated again. In that moment, the aliens finally understood. Humanity was not a species to be controlled or guided. Humanity was a force of nature, unstoppable and proud, forged in fire, tempered in adversity, and unbreakable in spirit. And so, Earth stood tall once more, not just as a planet of survival, but as a symbol of courage, heart, and the indomitable power of humanity. The aliens had returned expecting gratitude or submission. Instead, they found something far greater, a lesson they would carry across the stars for all eternity. Earth belonged to humanity. Its legacy would never fade, and the universe would remember that fire. The fire of humans could never be extinguished.